Hey everyone, Brody here with our new channel, Let's Table It, where we get games to the table. I was in a new copy of Guild Academies of Valeria, which is their newest game in the Valeria universe. Today I will explain how to play this game. You've waged war and have tended crops, killed for coin and achieved visions from the holy martyr, Aquila. You've mastered the principles of every guild and devoted your life to Valeria. But time grinds onward, and you must plan to foster the next generation of hardworking citizens and skilled protégés. Now is the moment to cement your legacy with your own Guild Academy. This task is not for the work of a single day. You must choose the right students, hire the most learned professors, and create the best environment where students can learn from real-world environments. To succeed, you must gain influence over the ministers and the town council. You acquire their favors and earn their support for the time when your academy will be judged. Just imagine the pride that you'll feel as you watch your graduates go out in the world to complete dangerous but rewarding quests, showing everyone that yours is indeed the greatest of the Guild Academies of Valeria. To start, the board is placed out and the round marker placed on round 1 spot. The purple tiles, known as the prestige tiles, are shoveled and placed face up on the top of the slot, and 3 tiles are placed out in the other slots. The gray tiles, known as town classroom tiles, are shuffled and placed in the same way in their slots. Add or remove the 3-player only green back tiles and shuffle those together, place face up, and then fill the other 5 slots with their tiles. Favor tokens are shuffled and placed in a pile face up, and the remaining slots are filled in. Similarly, this is done with the monument tokens as well. Quest cards are organized by their guild type and then placed so that the lowest victory point card is on top and the highest is on the bottom. The professor bag is filled with professor tokens by their colors according to the number of players in the game. Then you will randomly draw out professors one at a time and you will fill in its draft line. Students are represented by dice, and the student bag is filled with a certain number of each color of dice according to how many players you are having in the game. Randomly draw out the number of dice as players in the game plus 1, roll them, and then place them in the far left dock area on the game board. And this is then repeated for each dock that there is on the board. To set up each player's area, you should connect your player board and remember that the color should match your chosen color. You will take your headmaster and place it in your faculty area, and then randomly draw professor from the bag and place it on the same faculty area. A random guild classroom tile is then taken and placed in a valid location above your board. This player board and all tiles that you connect with it is known as your academy. Your magic token and your coin token are placed on their starting locations that are noted with an inner outline, and 2 random student dice are drawn from the bag and set to the value of 4 and each placed in your garden area. Then you will place your score tracker on the 0 spot at the top of the board. Your questing marker is placed on the shaded area in the far left of the questing track, and you have 3 torches, 3 banner tokens, and 3 steward tokens, and you'll place them near your player board. A first player is then chosen, and they are given the first player token. The game is played over 4 rounds with 4 phases in each round, and the recruitment phase is where you will send off your stewards to draft students. The education phase is where all players simultaneously will assign students and professors to classrooms in their academies. Dice increase in value, and when getting above the value of 6, they will graduate. The questing phase is where graduates are sent on quests to earn rewards and victory points and earn bonuses. And then lastly, the restoration phase is where the board is then refreshed for the next round. So now, in more detail, we will start with the first phase, which is the recruitment phase. The player with the first player token begins, and they will place one of their steward tokens that is laid near their player board, and they will place it on an unoccupied steward space at one of the 4 docks. Each dock has different students and different actions associated with it. When your steward is placed down, you will choose a student represented by a die and place it into your garden area on your player board. And there are 9 students allowed in your academy, and if this is full, then you will need to expel a student before placing a new one on it. Then you can perform the dock's dedicated action or perform the always available banking action, and then take any one optional action that I will explain later. The Castellan dock action lets you draft and place a town classroom tile. You will pay gold equal to the die that you drafted to gain one of the face-up classroom tiles, and these are the tiles that are the gray tiles on the bottom left of the board. The tile is placed in an allowable position, which is along the top edge of your player board or horizontally or vertically adjacent to at least one other tile already placed in your academy. And the roads need to connect, and they always need to be placed in the direction so you can read it. You cannot place any tiles ever beyond the left or right edges of your player board. If at any time when adding a tile you complete a pedestal, which is the circle in the corners of the tiles, then you will immediately gain a monument token. You can choose from the draft line and choose one and place it face up in that completed pedestal. At the end of the turn, the tokens are then moved down and fill in the gaps, and a new one comes out. There are 2 types of monuments: one-time rewards with a lightning bolt. These are used at any time during your turn to gain the shown reward, and it gets flipped over after you use it. And then there are in-game scoring monuments, which can boost prestige in your academy by using them to increase your points from the prestige tiles. The Ministry dock action lets you move a council banner and gain a favor. You will pay gold equal to the drafted die value to move one of your 3 council banner tokens to a seat in the upper or lower council, gaining its benefits. Only one of your banners can be at a seat at a time, but others can have their banners in the same seats as yours. If you place your banner on a seat while others are already there, then each player already at that seat immediately will gain 2 points. When first adding your token on there, you will need to place it in the lower council, but later you can take that action to take one of your banners in the lower council to move it to the upper council. Starting with the lower council, those actions are Minister of Tuition, which gives you 2 coin discount when purchasing town classroom tiles during the Castellan dock action. The Minister of Professors is also a 2 coin discount when hiring professors at the Fountain dock action spot. And the Minister of Graduates gives you a 2 coin discount when purchasing a guild classroom from the Benefactor dock action. These 4 ministers make your professors and students of the listed guild as wild for when you need to place them in classrooms during the education phase only. These other 4 ministers make the listed guild dice that have been placed graduated wild when placing them on the quest cards during the questing phase. The 11 green ministers are the lower council, and if the banner occupies one of those seats, you may use the seat's power in every phase as appropriate. If you move off of that seat, then you lose that power and gain the power of the banner's new seat. The upper council members are purple. They grant in-game scoring opportunities. You will begin in the lower council, but as time moves on, you'll move up to the higher council, and you will want to do this by the time that the game ends, as you will score more points when doing so. But you will also lose benefits from the lower council as you move up. When first placing your banner token, they need to be placed on the lower council before moving it to the higher council with another action. It might be worth getting all 3 of your banners on the lower council to gain their benefit, then moving them to the higher council at the end of the game to gain more ways to gain in-game points. So again, this dock lets you move a council banner and then gain a favor token of your choice from the draft line. These will also move down and fill in gaps, and new ones will come out as they are taken. The favor tokens can be used immediately, or you can keep them near your player board and use them during your turn in any phase of the game. Once used, you will discard them. The Fountain dock action lets you draft a professor and then gain 2 knowledge. You will pay gold equal to the value of your drafted die and then take 1 professor token from the draft line. It is then placed in your faculty area. And then at the end of your turn, these are moved toward the right, and then the gaps are filled in with a new one. And when drafting a professor, you will also gain to knowledge that can then be applied to any dice. And you can split the value between 2 dice if you would like, or put them both on 1. The benefactor dock action lets you draft and place a guild classroom tile, and you'll again pay the gold equal to the value of the drafted die to then take one of the face-up tiles from the draft line on the right side of the board, placing it in an allowable position above your player board, like I have previously described. At the end of your turn, tiles slide down and fill in gaps, and new ones come out, so that 6 tiles are on display for this type. If you wish not to take the dock action from where you put your steward at, you can gain 8 coins minus the value of your drafted die. So low value dice will give you more coins, higher value dice will give you less coins. Again, you take the dock action or the bank action and then one optional extra action, which consists of spending 2 coins to gain 1 magic, or spending 1 magic to gain 2 coins, spending 4 coins to move your banner, obeying the rules of, how you do that, or spending 6 coins to take 1 favor token from the draft line. And, well, this is the recruitment phase. Placing a steward token on one of the docks to either take the dock action or the bank action, and 1 optional extra action. Players take turns in a clockwise direction, doing this until each player has placed their 3 steward tokens on those docks. There is a chance during this phase that a student could have early graduation. Graduation normally occurs in the education phase, but some game processes could cause an early graduation. If this happens, which means the value on a die increases its value above 6, then that die is turned to 1 and moved to the graduation stage on your player board. Once graduated, these dice will not be used to place in the education phase. So many times you might not want to do early graduation. So the next phase is the education phase, where all players can play this phase simultaneously at the same time. But when learning, it's suggested to go 1 at a time to show all the players how to do this. Your drafted dice, which represent your students, and now you need to send them on. And your professors to classes. Well, dice are students and the professor tokens are the faculty, and your tiles are the classrooms. Each tile shows a formula of what combination of students and or faculty that it needs to gain the benefit from that classroom. Colors must match both the required professor and the required students. You have a headmaster token, which is magenta, and it is wild and can be used for any color requirement. If the icon is black, then it indicates any color can be used for it. Sometimes you might need to use 2 dice with the same value or 2 dice with different values. Other times it might list a number range where you need to use a die with a value in that number range. If there's an equal sign or an icon on the top of that requirement, it is talking about the value of the dice. It might need to match the other dice that you put on there. If the icon, like the equal sign, is on the front of the die, this means that the dice must be of the same guild or different guild, referring to the color of the dice. Now, you need to have everything in the formula to be able to get the benefit of it. It's an all or nothing thing. If dice are unable to be used, then they are left in your garden. Now, you do have 2 buildings on your player board that you can always use that are not represented by tiles, but it's encouraged to use as many students and as many faculty to use them for actions to gain more stuff. The first 4 unused dice will block the available attendance bonus shown, so if you can use more dice, you might be able to gain some more benefits. Keep unused professors or headmasters in the faculty area as well. Once you've placed all of your students and professors as you are able to, you will begin the teaching process, and you will gain any bonuses gained in your faculty and garden area. Each unused professor or headmaster token earns you 1 coin, and each unoccupied die position on the lowest row of your garden earns you an attendance bonus of either 1 coin, 2 coins, 1 magic, or 1 point shown on those spaces. If a space is covered by an unused die, then you do not gain that bonus. Next, all classroom tiles are then processed, gaining the benefits noted in the formula. This might show a die flip, which must be applied to 1 die in that classroom, even if it decreases its value. So, for example, a 1 value could be flipped to the opposite side, making it a 6, or a 5 flips to become a 2. Each knowledge point earned raises the value of one die in that classroom by 1 point, changing the die to show the new value. Knowledge must be used on the die only in that classroom. Magic and gold are gained and are immediately added to your resource track, and victory points are immediately added to your score marker. After you have processed all your classrooms, then you can spend magic to further educate students in any assigned classroom. For each magic that you spend, you gain 1 knowledge to apply to any classroom die. You can do this as many times as you would like, as your magic supply allows you to do. You cannot use magic to educate dice in your garden area though. Monument tokens and or favor tokens can be used at this time, and its power can be used on any dice in your entire academy, including the ones in your garden. If a die gains a value above a 6, then it graduates. This can happen in any phase, but most likely will be this one. You will take that die, make it a value 1, and place it into your graduation stage on the right side of your player board. Sometimes it's risky but desirable to do a late graduation. There are strategies and situations where you may want to hold off on graduating a certain die in the education phase and instead waiting till the questing phase. This is called late graduation, as all classrooms will then need to be processed before you start the questing phase. So the only way to graduate students in the questing phase is by applying magic to student dice already in classrooms, or applying knowledge from monuments or favor tokens, or applying knowledge from completed quests. Once all players have processed all their classrooms and have graduated their students, then the quest phase begins. Here you will, in turn order, assign your graduates to fulfill available quests to earn rewards, and as your total number of completed quests grow, you will earn prestige tiles and also influence more ministers. Each quest card shows a set of 2 or 3 dice that you need to complete a quest. Your graduates must match all the dice icons on the quest. If the black wild die icon is shown, then any guild die can be used to fulfill it. Each graduate can only be applied to 1 quest card, and if you cannot complete a quest card completely, then you cannot assign dice to it. Once you complete a quest, a torch token is placed on that card. This card can accumulate torches for each player during the phase, but only 1 from each player. You gain benefits shown on the quest card, which will be gaining knowledge, which can be applied to any die, increasing its value, gaining magic, gold, victory points, gaining more professors, gaining 1 die randomly from the bag and placing it into your garden area. Now, you cannot hold a graduated die over to use for any future round, so you'll want to plan your graduations carefully so that questing parties can be graduated at the same time to earn you the most points and not waste potential benefits. Players will count the number of torches added that round and increase their questing tracker, that number of spaces on that track. If a player's token passes over or lands on a purple shaded area on that track, then they will draft a prestige tile from the top left edge of the board, immediately adding it to their academy. Again, if a pedestal is completed, then they get a draft a monument token. There is a center spot on this track, and when it is reached, it will allow a player to swap locations of 2 tiles in that player's academy. This can also help line up tiles to help earn in-game points from prestige tiles or from banner positions in the upper council. The next phase is the restoration phase, and it will be skipped after players have played 4 rounds, but the board is then reset for the next round. The bottom favor and monument tokens are discarded and new ones are filled in. The 2 rightmost professor tokens are placed back into the bag, and 2 new ones are drawn out randomly and filled back in. Steward tokens from all players are returned back to each player. All dice in the dock locations from completed quests and any unused graduates are placed back into the student bag, and the docks are refilled with dice again. The bottom prestige tile, the bottom town classroom tile, and the bottom 2 guild classroom tiles are discarded, and tiles slide down and new ones come out. Any or all quest cards with a torch token on them are discarded and new quests come out for the next round. Quest cards with no tokens on them are left out. Torches are then returned back to those players. Player boards are reset by moving all of the student dice from classrooms to the garden area without changing any of the values. Your headmaster and professors are also returned back to the faculty area. Make sure you have your steward tokens and torches back for the new round. And a new round begins, moving the round token, and the player with the first player token passes that to the player to their left, and a new round begins. 4 rounds are played, and after 4 rounds, in-game scoring is performed. You will gain points from prestige tiles in your academy and by the position of your banners in the upper council. Prestige tiles have 3 ways that they can score. Position tiles earn points for being orthogonally adjacent to certain tiles. Professor prestige tiles earn points based on matching professor tokens that you hired during the game. The guild prestige tiles earn points for having guild icons on top of your tiles in your academy. Then the upper council will earn points if your banner is on their seat at the end of the game, and you meet the conditions noted for that seat. And the 2 classrooms that you start with on your player board don't count for any of these in-game scoring. The Minister of Arcane Sites rewards 1 point for each tile in your academy that generates magic. The Minister of Tax Collection rewards points for each tile in your academy that generates coins. The Minister of Diversity rewards 2 points per tile in the largest group of tiles with 2 guild icons at the top. The Minister of Urbanization rewards 1 point per tile for the largest grouping of adjacent tiles that have different guild icons at the top. The Minister of Vocations rewards 1 point for each tile in your academy with just 1 guild icon at the top. The Minister of Rectitude rewards 3 points for each column of 4 tiles of any type in your academy. The Minister of Districts rewards 1 point per tile for the 1 largest grouping of adjacent tiles that all have the same guild icon at the top. The Minister of Civic Pride rewards 1 point for each monument token in your academy. And the Minister of Curriculum rewards 3 points for each triplet of professor tokens of the same color, with the headmaster being a wild. You will add those points to your score marker, and the player with the most points wins the game. If there is a tie, then the player with the most monument tokens on their academy is the winner. If there is still a tie, then a school rivalry is born. And well, that's how you play Guild Academies of Valeria by Daily Magic Games. And if you have any questions, please leave them here below. I will do my best to be able to answer them. Again, this is Brody with Let's Table It, where we get games to the table. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We are new and working hard to bring to you videos like this one so that you know if these games are ones that you want to get to your own table.